Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started. So I will kick it off and say welcome to all of you. My name is Don Kasle, and I, along with the other men and women in the room that have these badges on, are part of Tech Coast Angels, and we're delighted to have you here to participate in our celebration of entrepreneurship, and particularly in the fast pitch competition that's going to be a major part of that very nice event on March the 10th, which we hope all of you will attend indeed. I'm going to spend a little bit of time now going over what should be in a fast pitch, what constitutes a fast pitch, etc. Hopefully, this isn't too incompatible with what you've already prepared, but in a lot of instances, we sometimes see that is the case, and at least it will kind of give you an idea and a help as to what it is. In addition, we're going to be recording this presentation today, and we're going to be putting it on our website, and hopefully that'll be up very quickly so that you all have a chance to go back and review it further if you'd like. So with that, let's get started and let's talk about the art of the fast pitch. And in considering a 60-second fast pitch, and that's all you've got is 60 seconds, I think the most appropriate way to start is to remind you what Mark Twain did many years ago. He was a 19th century author, as you may be familiar, and he wrote a friend one day a letter, and he said, "Dear friend, I hope you will forgive the fact that this is going to be a long letter, but I don't have time to write you a short one." Now, there's a lot of truth to that, because to get your words honed to just this perfect amount that you can do a fast pitch is very, very difficult. It's a lot easier to be wordy and verbose than it is to be very concise and precise. And that's really what the fast pitch is all about, to get you to have a presentation that asks the investor or the person you're talking to that you're trying to move in a direction to talk to you further, to be interested in it, to really want to pursue it. And that's the goal of the fast pitch. It's not to get me to write a check. That's eventual, hopefully, but it's rather to get me so interested that I want to talk to you further about it. So let's go through the elements, and I'm going to run these kind of quickly because of the time, but I hope this will be helpful to you. First thing you want to do is start with a hook. Tell us what you do. You want to get the attention of the listener. Now, I will tell you that telling us what you do is the most overlooked example of that entrepreneurs do, and the biggest mistake, in my opinion, that they make sometimes in their presentations. Nothing's worse than to go through an entire presentation, be it a 60-second fast pitch or a 12-minute full angel presentation, and get all finished and have the first question from the listener be, "Well, could you tell me exactly what it is you do?" And we see this, unfortunately, too many times. We had a previous fast pitch company a number of years ago, and they were in the business of evaluating ground soil before construction to see if there were contaminants in the ground, and if there were, they were to clean it. So we asked them, "What do you do?" And they told us, "We evaluate and remove contaminated pollutants in subterranean geological levels with the most effective alacrity and the highest efficiency." Really clear, right? Of course not. So we kind of changed that around on them and had them work on it, and here's what they came back with. "We analyze and clean dirt faster, more thoroughly, and less costly than anyone." Fewer words, and we really understood what they did. So that's what you want to do. You want to begin by letting us know what you do. Then you want to state the problem, the pain, the need. And you want to do this from the point of view of your potential customers. Make sure that that's clear. And again, I've put down here, what do you do, to re-emphasize the importance of making sure everybody is on the same page as you are. After that is a good time to state your name, your company, what your title is. Are you the founder, the CEO, or what? And it's helpful sometimes to know that. If you're the founder, then presumably if there's any IP or whatnot, you have possession of that. If you're the CEO, you're the decision maker. So it's important sometimes to know the role of the person. What I don't like to see is have the person get up and have as their opening statement, "Hi, I'm Don Kasle and my company is ABC." You didn't grab me at that. You want to grab them when you start. And that's a very important element to try to do. Next, you want to tell us how you're going to do it. Better, faster, less costly. What is your competitive advantage? Is it disruptive? And we like to call this page the why you and the why now. Why you in terms of why should we go with your company that has this focus and this direction and what you're trying to do, and why at this particular time is that is the timing right for us to make this potential investment and to be interested in learning more about you. If you have IP protection, you need to tell us that. If it's a first mover advantage, you probably don't need to mention that. One of the things I like to tell people in doing a fast pitch is if there's negatives, don't put them in. That doesn't mean you lie or you cover things up, But for example, if you're looking for a lead salesperson and you don't have them yet, you don't want to waste part of your 60 seconds by saying, we're actively looking for a sales manager. That'll come in the discussion when they ask about the team, etc. But you do want to focus on the positives. I would eliminate the negatives from a fast pitch. So if you don't have IP protection and you're strictly first mover, then in that case, perhaps say nothing. How big is the market? And is your business scalable? How many people have this problem and would be willing to buy your product or your service? It's important to know the market size so we've got some idea of the scalability. If you are selling something that is only going to left-handed individuals who were born on the 29th of February and whose mothers came from Nova Scotia, you probably don't have too big a market out there. So we want to know what the market size is and the potential, again, to get us potentially interested. How do you make money? Now, don't assume that the audience will automatically know the answer to that. Sometimes they will. I'm going to give you an example of what a fast pitch looks like today, and I'll show it to you. Mine is a pretty simplified product that I'm selling, and therefore, the way I make money is I sell the product. So if it's self-evident, you just say that, and that's good enough. But on the other hand, if it's not self-evident, you need to tell us what it is. Is it a subscription model? Is it an advertising model, or what? You can do this in few words. These things that I keep throwing out here that you need to consider in your fast pitch presentation doesn't suggest you can't get them all in, because there's actually 14 items that I'm going over with you now. And when I show you the fast pitch, I'm going to show you how I'm including those items, all 14 of those items, in what you're about to hear. Have you achieved a proof of concept? Or as we like to say, are the dogs eating the dog food? Now, proof of concept, the three best words you can ever have to provide that you actually have proof of concept. The three best words are repeat paying customers. You not only have a customer, that means somebody that's embraced your product or service. You not only have a paying customer, you're not giving it away just to get it out in the market. But even more importantly, they not only paid for it once, but they've paid for it more than once. The old adage about, fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me. Well, your customers aren't going to get fooled twice. So if you've got repeat paying customers, you've got the best proof of concept possible. Now, a lot of you won't have that. A lot of you are new enough as far as the development of your company that you're not there yet. But if you are there, or at least if you have paying customers, or at least if you have customers, it's important to get that in and to make sure we understand that. And who believes in you? If you have key customers that are already there in the place, or if you have advisors that are noteworthy, or if you have investors, it's very important that we know that, because these are people that have voted for you in one way or another, either with their checkbooks or with their time or their effort or their reputations, etc. So that's a very important thing. How big are you going to grow to? What's your revenue potential in 5 years based on sales side? You may also mention how much of the market you intend to capture, 5% in 3 years or whatever. But it's important to get some kind of an idea of where you hope to be so that we have an idea of what the scalability might be. Now, we'll get into that in much more detail if we get into that follow-up conversation. But to get my interest up as a potential listener and a potential investor, you need to entice me with the size of what you think you could be. The trick there is not to make it so big that it comes out ridiculous. We're going to be at $1 billion in revenue in 3 years. Sorry, Charlie, that just doesn't happen. So right there, you lost my interest in it from that perspective. The team is critical. We always like to talk about the fact that we bet far more on the jockey than we do on the horse. We have to like the horse. We have to bet on it. We've got to be in love with the jockey. So it's very important that you give us a little bit of a flavor. And again, I realize you've only got 60 seconds, but you've got to give us a little bit of a flavor of why you, as far as the CEO, the entrepreneur, the person, because we're betting on that individual, we're betting on that jockey. And we want to know what your own unique value is. And sometimes that's just alluded to, or sometimes it's a little bit more in detail. And I know all these things are tricky because we're talking about an awful lot to get into 60 seconds. But if you choose your wording very carefully, and I'll tell you, the fast pitch I'm about to show you that I did, it's 170 words, and I probably went through eight or nine iterations. And I've been doing this for a lot of years. I've been a part of the fast pitch program along with a number of other people in the room from Tech Coast Angels almost since inception. So, which goes back to, 2002, is that right, that we figured out? So I've done a lot, I've seen a lot, and yet it took me a long time to come up with what I did. So it's not an easy thing that comes off just real quick. Is the package complete? Is the management team complete and in place? Is the product ready for market? Do you have paying customers? We've alluded to this a little bit before, but if that is the case, yes, you need to let us know. If it's not the case, you don't want to start explaining why it isn't, because you've only got 60 seconds. But if there are positives there, you definitely want to share them and let us know from that standpoint. It's very important that you keep in mind that you are speaking to an investor or a potential investor. And therefore, you want to make this an investor pitch, not a sales pitch. If it is so sales-oriented that you never get to any of the aspects of what the deal would be in terms of how much money are you seeking and how much, why do you need it? Have you put any money into the deal itself already? And when I say have you put money in, you'll see that I have italicized and underlined the word cash. We as investors very, very, very much respect sweat equity, but it doesn't count relative to money that's been invested. So we're not trying to take away the fact that a lot of you may be working 25 hours a day and 8 days a week on your deal, and you may say, well, before I left a job that I was getting paid $100,000 for, and I've been at this for 2 years, so I put $200,000 worth of sweat equity into my company. That doesn't count from that perspective. We want to know the cash that's gone into it, which can actually turn around, therefore, and buy product and service and get you to where you are, and that would fit into your capital structure. So but we want to know some of those aspects that make this an investor pitch and not a sales pitch. Pardon me. So remember, the purpose of the fast pitch is to give the listener enough information to get excited, to want to meet with you, to want to learn more. So, as I always like to say, you want to tell them what time it is and not how to make a watch. Now, finally, you need to have a conclusion. When you get all done and you just sort of leave them up in the air and say, and this is what we've done, thank you, have something that's a bite. Have something that, wow, when you walk away. It doesn't have to be necessarily great. I'm still not in love with my conclusion in my fast pitch example I'm about to show you. But at least it's something that has a little bit of a potential interest to it or whatnot. So you want to make it meaningful and memorable if at all possible. Okay, I'm going to tell you a true story. And this goes back about 7 years. And we had an individual come to the TCA Fast Pitch that we were doing in Orange County at the time. His name was Eric. And Eric did a really nice job, and in fact, he got to the finals. He was one of the 10 finalists. And while he didn't win one of the top 3 prizes, he did do a very, very nice job. So we fast forward about 2 weeks after the fast pitch competition is over. And Eric is trying to line up an investor in New York that he wants to see when he's going back to New York about 3 weeks beyond that. And he's got a whole list of people he's trying to see and lining up appointments. And this one investor, he can never get through the administrative assistant. He keeps calling to try to get an appointment with the investor, and she keeps saying to him, he's busy, he probably won't be able to see you, but I'll check and let you know, and I'll get back to you. She never calls him back. He calls her again. This goes on 3 or 4 times. Finally, in desperation, he says, I'm going to try one more time because it's Thursday. He's leaving on Sunday to go to New York for the week. So he calls at 2:15 in the afternoon, 2:15 West Coast time. It was 5:15 in New York. The administrative assistant had gone home. The guy he wanted to talk to picks up the phone. And Eric is delighted. And he says, I really want to come see you and talk to you and tell you about my company and so forth. And I think it's something you might have interest in. And the guy says, okay, Eric, I'll tell you what. I'm watching my sweep secondhand on my watch. I'm giving you 2 minutes. And in 2 minutes, you better convince me of why I should see you. And if not, then no appointment. Eric said, I can do it in 60 seconds. And Eric launched into his fast pitch. And he got all finished. And there's a pause on the other end of the phone. And the investor said, can you be in my office at 2 o'clock on Tuesday? True story. So it does work when it's done right. Okay, David, let's go to an example of the fast pitch. I want you to, okay, on the left side, you've got the pitch itself. On the right side, you've got the elements of what to have in a fast pitch, which I've numbered, and you can see where I've plugged them in. So I'm going to give you a fast pitch. Do you have the timer ready, David?
I'm ready.
Oh, you got it. Bridget's doing. Okay, great. So here's an example. The one thing that I am going to do, and I'm going to take liberty here, is I'm not going to have as good an eye contact as you need to have when you're doing this, particularly as you progress through it. We'll be a little more lenient today if you aren't doing a lot of eye contact, but it's very important that this be memorized and be done because it is 60 seconds. But here we go, and we'll take a pass at it. So you start when I start, okay? Ruff, ruff. I love to walk my dog, but he likes to pull and tug and run. My leash is only 6 feet long. Doggy can't get the exercise he needs. So I saved the day and invented the retractable dog leash. Hi, I'm Don Kasle, founder and CEO of the patent-pending Lucky Leash, a 16-foot expandable and retractable dog leash that can stop and retract at the touch of a thumb. I'm a 3-time entrepreneur with 2 previous successes. We are totally unique, the only leash that can function this way. With over 50 million U.S. households owning 65 million dogs, the market is ripe for Lucky Leash. We are strong in revenue with repeat customers and have pending orders with Petco. With $30 million revenue goal, we retail for $10, wholesale for $6, and only costs $3. I have an award-winning team, and we seek $500,000 to go along with the $200,000 I have personally invested. Won't you join me for a lucrative dog walk? Now, obviously, I didn't invent the expandable leash, but that does cover it. So that gives you an example of what it is.